to go. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. As you can see and probably figured what this review is, this is the review to the Super Mario Brothers movie directed by Michael Jelenic and Aaron Horvath, starring Chris Pratt as Mario, Charlie Day as Luigi, Jack Black as Bowser, Anya Taylor-Joy as Princess Peach, Seth Rogen as Donkey Kong, and so many more, and of course Keegan-Michael Key as Toad. I got this hat, I want to say probably over 10 years ago at Six Flags. No, it's not quite exactly like Toad, but I figured I had to pull it out for this review. There's going to be no other time I'm ever going to pull this out again in my entire life, probably. So I was glad that I could bring it on for this review. And as you can tell, I am a massive Mario fan. If you've seen some of my videos, you might have picked up on that a little. But Mario is one of my favorite franchises of all time, of games, and certainly of Nintendo, up there with Pokemon and Super Smash Brothers. But my goodness, how do you not love Mario, especially how innovative these games have been, whether it be through the development of 2D platformers into 3D platformers with Super Mario 64 and onward. There's so much to love about these games, and just the iconic look of the characters, and of course the characters that populate the world that he inhabits. So I was excited for this movie, obviously, considering, the one from the 90s, but also a little trepidatious considering, Illumination was involved, which I'm not necessarily a huge fan of their movies, as I talked about in my most anticipated films of 2023. This just missed the cut because I was a bit worried what they were going to do with the humor in this movie and what they were going to actually dive into with these characters. But let's get, let's address the elephant room right away. Chris Pratt as Mario. Look, this was the biggest controversy of all. Everybody clowned on Illumination for doing this. But I think the way they explain it in the movie is fair. I felt like, oh, so all we needed was context and we could stop complaining. You know what I mean? But I think some would say it's lazy. I think it's kind of cool how they explain it, because would you really want to listen to that voice of the movie? I mean, you guys have seen House of Gucci. I think that should tell you enough. But regardless, they could have done it and that would have been fine. But then again, the stereotypical Italian accent, some might take offense to that. I think he does a good job as a character. Once they explain why he is the way he is, you buy into the performance. I think Charlie Day as Luigi is really, really good. Not how I'd picture Luigi to sound, but I think he captures the essence of that character. And I am a huge Luigi fan, even more so than Mario, probably. So I was really glad to see him represented in that way, you could say. But oh my goodness, I really think the real standout in this cast is Jack Black as Bowser, the King of the Koopas. He completely transforms himself for this performance. I wouldn't say it's on the level of something like Donkey and Shrek, right? That might be the gold standard of voice acting in any film. But what he does here is nothing short of tremendous. He really captures the character of Bowser. And besides a few moments where he's singing for some reason, you could tell, or you couldn't tell that it was Jack Black, and I think he completely captures the essence of that character. Anya Taylor-Joy was quite good as Peach as well. I liked her, even though, I could tell it was Anya Taylor-Joy, and they didn't really take her character further enough to do that. I really was impressed by Keegan-Michael Key as Toad, because he basically, yet again, that was another performance where it felt like the Toad, like the voice effects I heard from Toad in the games, it felt like it was a fully realized sort of being in this movie, not character-wise. We'll get into that. And Seth Rogen is Donkey Kong, man. Just what you'd expect. It's Seth Rogen playing Donkey Kong. I don't know what to tell you. But, oh my goodness, there'd be scenes in the movie you just hear Seth Rogen's laugh. And I just started bursting out loud because it was like, oh my, it's just so obvious. And it's like, of course, we just have to throw him laughing in here for no reason at all. Just to let you know, this is Seth Rogen. But, I think he did a fair job in the movie. And there's some great cameos, of course, from Charles Martinet, who voiced Mario, Luigi, and everybody. So it's nice to hear him pop up. This is the thing, though. I think the thing that's most impressive about this film is the world building, the world of the Mushroom Kingdom, the world of this entire sort of realized, it really does feel like the Mario games come to life. And that's not something that I can compliment a film like Sonic the Hedgehog on, where, oh, we're just going to place him with human characters once again and completely forget about the world which Sonic came from. And I don't like that approach. Obviously, it's failed many times with Smurfs. Obviously, you know, Sonic, I think, has hit its stride for a lot of people. But I never really was into it. I thought the first one sucked. I didn't like the second one either. I just wasn't a fan of its brand of humor. Very childish. And while you could say that about this film in some instances, there are definitely surprising moments where I was laughing, you know, and there's certain moments that don't work. It's very hit or miss, as you'd expect from Illumination. And look, I will say, I think the Sonic movies attempt to dive a little bit more into character, but I'll get into that, because another thing that really worked for me with this movie is so many Easter eggs, more like elderberries, if you will, and the way they kind of like make reference to other Nintendo games is so brilliant throughout this entire thing, and how they reference the Mario games and the characters within. But I think the score here from Brian Tyler is absolutely brilliant, and the way he integrates the themes from the game, you know, originally created by Koji Kondo and a few others. I think it's so brilliant. Every step of the way, I was anticipating each cue, and I don't know, it was like I could predict every one, but in a good way, because I was like, okay, like, they're really fleshing out this world with the music that we've come to know and love, and I absolutely love that about this film. Maybe its strongest aspect, besides the beautiful, beautiful animation and the world of the Mushroom Kingdom itself. But this is the thing, when it comes to characters, is very, very light. There isn't really a whole lot here. It's very surface level. I really like what they were doing in the beginning with Mario and Luigi, and kind of their whole backstory. I really enjoyed that. And even taking elements from the Mario movie from the 90s that didn't work. And I liked how they tried to integrate elements from that movie and try to reinvent them in a new and fresh way that maybe would work better in a format like this. And I think it did, certainly. They didn't completely... This is the thing, this film is completely inoffensive to the legacy of Mario, which I think is great, because you need something like that to make this as successful. Wow, I'm really talking myself up on this movie as I review it. But regardless, I really feel like once you get to the second half, it's like, oh, we're hitting this trope. Oh, we're hitting this trope. And it's just like, it feels very rushed and not really, it doesn't really leave you anything to chew on. And I get it, it's a kid's movie, but I feel like it's such a cop-out of an answer, because you could say Toy Story's a kid's movie. You could say, I don't know, How to Train Your Dragon's a kid's movie. But there's really so much more to chew on, and a lot that adults can think on. You can't really find that here, which is probably my biggest issue. Though there's this one joke with one character, I won't spoil what it is, but oh my goodness, they were hysterical. It was like the most existential thing in the movie. I was laughing every time this character appeared on screen. But still, like, I don't know, like, I enjoyed this movie because of how many amazing, like, Easter eggs and world building that was present. And look, a lot of people could say, especially with other films that have come out in the past few years, I'm looking at you, Rise of Skywalker, just relying on fan service doesn't really make a movie. So if anybody doesn't like this movie, I completely get it. Like, I think that's a completely valid criticism, and one I do have. But for me, I think it really worked. Just because it really was a love letter to these games and to the people who have played these games, have grown up with these games, and that's what I really, really liked about it. But I don't know, it could go either way for people, even people who grew up on these games, and that's completely fine. I completely understand all the criticisms that have been thrown on this movie, because it has like a 50-something on Rotten Tomatoes, and that's completely fair. You know, this isn't going to work for everybody. It kind of worked for me, but it's not anything I'm going to like run home about. Really, more than anything, I'm just going to be talking about the amazing world that they built, the character designs, how true it was to the game in that sense. That really is, let's be honest, very thinly plotted to begin with. But look, it's a fun time at the theater for sure. As I said, it's just a beautiful, beautiful love letter to the games. Has a lot of fun scenes. And that's the thing. Could they aim a little higher? Yes. But I feel like for what it is, I think the reason this works better for me than Sonic is because of how true it stayed to the games, how true it stayed to the art style, where Sonic... and I just also like Sonic's brand of humor less, even though they did try to go for more character. This doesn't really need to be more than it was intended to be. And I hope, though, that this gets a sequel, and I'd love to see them dive a bit deeper. But let's be honest, this isn't going to be the sequel to Into the Spider-Verse. You know what I mean? Like, this is easily... like, not the most anticipated animated film of the year for me, and it's certainly going to be nowhere near my top 10 of the year or anything like it, but for what it is, I'm going to give this a 6 out of 10. It's a fine movie. It's fun. You're going to have a good time watching it if you enjoy these games, if you grew up on them. And hey, I mean, not everything works in this movie, obviously, but that's just par for the course with Illumination and what they're doing with this. But hey, I'm just really glad to see, especially Shigeru Miyamoto, hop onto this and as credited as producer, and really let them take his world that he created and present it on a cinematic screen. So, you know, really glad to see this movie. You know, not going to probably watch it too many times again, but I am looking forward to seeing it sometime in the distant future. But yeah, what do you guys think of the Super Mario Brothers movie? Would love to hear what you think in the comments below. What do you think of the hats? Would also love to hear what you think of that as well. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Obviously, I hope to bring more into the fold soon. And look, it's going to be a lot of great content coming soon. I've been very slammed, so I'm definitely going to keep pedaling out with the Nathaniel A. Hart and Company's top 100 greatest movies at the very least. And, of course, trying to bring you a review of Air once I see that. I definitely want to do something on that. And a couple special videos here or there. So definitely be on the lookout for those. And until then, I will see you guys in the next video. Take it easy now.